to Question and Sense with me, Matt. Okay, well, it is an evening review this evening, so cheers. Okay, so not quite a review in its normal format. I'm about to go away with my family and friends for a long weekend. Huzzah! Something we like to do. So we're off down to Kent, to the coast, and we've hired a great big place and there's loads of us going. So we do this on a fairly regular basis, and what I normally do is get my bottle of Pardon, take off the big cap and put the little cap on it, and away we go. But this time I've banned myself from wearing Pardon, and I'm going to explore some of my other fragrances and give them all a run out and see what we can do. Now, before I do that, basically what we're going to do is a bit of a whistle-stop tour of some of the fragrances that I think would be appropriate for this sort of weekend. Now, we're going to be doing some socialising, we're going to be going to some restaurants, having big cooked meals indoors, and lots of bracing walks along the coast. So, yeah, out in the wind and the elements, and it is, you know, autumn here, so the weather's not going to be the best. So fragrance choice is going to be quite an interesting one, and obviously bearing in mind that we are going to be in a house together, that will have a bearing on what we're going to, you know, what I'm going to be able to wear, because I don't want to be wearing stuff that's going to be too strong or, you know, too overbearing for everybody that's going to be around me. But before I do that, one of the reasons we're going is to celebrate a friend's excuse me, a friend's birthday, and she's just done some amazing work as well. So I managed to get her a present, which is a Dolce Gabbana Parfum Red Cap, which has been long since discontinued, and this is my friend's favourite fragrance, and she's not had a bottle of this for a very long time, so it'd be a really nice surprise to her. And I just wanted to say thank you very much to Claire from the Smurfy Girl channel, because she helped me find this and arranged for me to get it, so thank you very much. And by the way, if you haven't seen any of Claire's videos on her channel, please subscribe, because they are simply awesome and you'll learn a lot and really enjoy it as well. So first off, what we're going to do is, as I say, it's a bit of a whistle-stop tour. Going to look at some of the fragrances I'm going to potentially be taking with me to wean me off Pardon, and give me some other options. So when we're out and about walking, I'm going to need a fragrance that's quite robust, that's got great presence, that's got really good performance, good sillage and good projection. And I can't think of anything better than this. There is a full review of this, and this is Mousse Illuminée from Rogue Perfumery. Beautiful, beautiful fragrance this. It's green, it's thick, it's powerful, it's evocative, it's beautiful, there's definition in the notes. It's an amazing, amazing fragrance, one of my best buys of 2019. As I say, there is a full review of it. The best way to describe this, for me anyway, is to think of polo green as it was when it originally came out, with deep sort of green notes, woody notes. It's mossy, it's clean, it's powerful, it's very old-fashioned smelling, but with such a modern twist, it makes it very, very current and very, very usable. And because of the wonderful sillage and the superb projection from this is a major compliment getter if that's your kind of thing. But this is going to be, I'm probably going to wear this outside all the time. I don't see any need to wear anything else, but I will think of other alternatives for some reason. Really, really good fragrance. So on the Friday when we get down there, in the evening everyone's going to be arriving, so it's going to be quite the raucous evening. So there'll be a bit of fun and some drinks, I'm sure, and a bit of jumping around, possibly even some dancing. Not from me though, I can assure you of that. And for that one, I've picked this. I'm going to give this a spin out. This is a relatively new one to me, but it's not a new perfume. It came out in 2016, and the nose behind it was Natalie Lawson. This will be my third perfume that she's made, so obviously I've got a bit of a connection with that perfumer. And this is him from Alec Voltaire. A really interesting fragrance. Really, really lovely. I really enjoy this. I sniffed this in the shop and thought, right, I need this. So I did the honourable thing and went online and found it very cheap and bought it. Now, this is a 50ml bottle. And the notes are grapefruit, milky sandalwood, pepper, incense and vanilla. Beautiful stuff. To me, the grapefruit is there, a tiny bit in the opening, and that's kind of it really. And the rest of it, look at that. It's all about the sandalwood, the pepper, the incense and the vanilla, and they combine beautifully. They make quite a masculine smelling scent to me. Not a massive projection, but a good lifespan. But what it does seem to do is, I don't know whether there's lots of ISO super in there, it is a little bit pencil shaving-y. So there probably is, but it hangs in the air very, very nicely. Leaves a wonderful trail, quite an enchanting smell, and it will certainly, the sillage, the trail that you leave behind you will bring people in. Beautiful. But because we're going to be in a big house, it's not too overbearing. So really happy with this one. I'm certainly going to give this one a go. Slightly divisive. Lots of people like it. Lots of people aren't that impressed with it. I think this is a stunner, and it's available for a really good price as well. So well worth trying out if you can. Okay, so that's an evening one. Another one for the daytime would probably be this, which is L'Enfant Terrible from Jovoy in Paris. This is beautiful. This is, to me, a masterclass in blending. It's it's lovely. It's I mean, it's an interesting name, L'Enfant Terrible. Now, the terrible child, or the terrible infant, I think is basically referring to the note of cumin, which is in this. And cumin on me, I've had mixed results with it. Some fragrances carry cumin really well, like Chopard's with Maliki, that I love. The cumin on that is perfect. With other fragrances I've tried with cumin in, not gone so well for me at all. It doesn't smell very nice on my skin, it smells a bit like body odour. But because this is blended so well, and everything's been used in the right sort of amounts and context, beautiful. There's no hassle with the cumin. The other notes, I mean, the note listing is very spicy nutmeg, coriander, cumin, and cedar, orange tree, date, and then in the base you have musk. And it all blends together to give this sort of east versus west, bit of a brawl going on, but everything is just evens out. It's really, really lovely. Quite a thumper. It's certainly got some presence, and it certainly gets you noticed. So definitely one for the daytime, probably not for the evening. So that brings us on to the next evening, and I'm going to go with this, which is Moustache by Rochas or Rochas. I always get the pronunciation on that one completely wrong. But this is beautiful, really, really classic looking bottle. Great cap too. Now this is named after an original perfume that came out in 1949, and yes, Moustache is a very strange name for a perfume. The reason it was called Moustache was it was called that after a painting of Charles I, and obviously, you know, when this came out in 1949, it's nothing to do with the version now. I've never smelt the original, and I'm probably likely not to, but this is a really, really interesting fragrance actually, and this is perfect for the evening. It'd be perfect for a restaurant or something like that. Notes of pink pepper, mandarin, cedarwood, Bulgarian rose, patchouli, vanilla, benzoin. It's one that's got a really enchanting smell. It brings people in, but it doesn't overly project. You could excuse me, you could easily sit next to somebody in a restaurant and they could still enjoy their meal and probably enjoy some smell coming from you. Not too overbearing. So this is certainly a good choice for the evening, and certainly one I'm going to be considering taking for the evening. Okay, next up is another daytime fragrance, and that will be Incident Diplomatique, again by Jovoy. This is beautiful, but it's powerful. Massive projection, massive presence. This is all about vetiver and patchouli and sandalwood. There are two types of patchouli that kind of duel with the patchouli, two types of vetiver, sorry, that duel with the patchouli to make this wonderful, wonderful, complex, green, earthy, slightly spicy fragrance with a beautiful sandalwood base that just, excuse me, I've got something stuck in my throat, that just make this wonderful combination. But my crikey, it's loud. It projects like nothing on earth, and it's got an incredible sillage, and it certainly gets you noticed. So probably too powerful for any potential restaurant settings or you know, sort of sitting around the house. This is definitely going to be one for the outside when we're out walking. Okay, this weekend wouldn't be a weekend for me without something by Alessandro Gualtieri. And the one I would pick for this would be Autocrazy's Seminalis, a gentlemanly, sandalwoody, creamy, slightly musky, a little bit of skank in there, but a tiny bit. Beautiful fragrance, and this is this creamy almond-like, beautiful smell. It's subtle. It gives you great presence. It hangs around you nicely. It doesn't overpower anything. It's an enchanting fragrance. It brings people in. It's glorious. Really, really long lasting, but not overbearing. I mean, a lot of Gualtieri's works are quite loud and they project really massively. And this one projects quite well to start off with. That patchouli note comes through, and it does have a slight resemblance to Mugler's Amen for a very short period of time. But then it's all about the sweet, creamy sandalwood and musk, and it's glorious, but very subtle, especially for Gualtieri. So that's another option that I will bring with me for an evening. Really like this one. Okay, on to the next one. This is another potential for the evening, and this is from the house of Mancera, and this is Black Lion. This is, as you would expect, a oud and rose combo, maybe a little bit of saffron in there. Very sweet. If you compare this to Black or the Oud, which are the other two Mancera rose oud combinations I own, this is different. It doesn't have that massive projection that the others have, but it has the same massive longevity. So what I would do with this is certainly use this for an evening, because it's sweet, it's enchanting, people love it, but it's not overbearing. You know, you're not going to be the cologne guy when you're wearing this. You're going to be interesting, you're going to be remarkable, you're going to be deep, slightly feminine, absolutely glorious. I love this actually. This is a really good work frag, and it will work really well for the evening. So that's my other option. And then you come to the horrible moment when you have to go home on your final day. Now, I always wear 2 fragrances in a day unless I can't. So if I'm at work, when I come home from work, I'll shower and then I'll put on a different fragrance for the evening. And generally speaking, 9 days out of 10, I will always wear 2 fragrances. However, on a big day when you can't, you're probably traveling all day, etc. And then by the time you come home, you just want to have a quick shower and go to bed. And for that, I'm picking the wonderful Vespero by Jeroboam. And the reason I'm picking this as an all-day frag is it kind of makes me feel like I'm wearing 2 fragrances. Now, I've done quite an in-depth review on this, but I'm going to give the abridged version for this sort of whistle-stop tour of potential fragrances for my long weekend. When you spray this, I can really, really simplify the review. It starts off smelling quite a lot like Creed's Aventus, and it takes you on a journey and leaves you at Tom Ford's Tuscan Leather. I'm not doing this justice by doing that kind of review, but because of the time constraints, that's what I'm going to have to say. It does start off in a very similar vein to Creed's Aventus. I actually much prefer this to Creed's Aventus. It's just a more complex and more developed version or usage of that sort of Aventus DNA. And then it gets darker, it gets smoother, it gets leathery, it gets woodier, and it just becomes amazing, like a real journey, you know. So this, in some respects, because where this fragrance takes you at the end of the journey, it's so different to where you start, you do kind of feel like you're wearing 2 fragrances. So this is a definite goer for the last day. So this is certainly going to be my choice for the final day, when we're all sad and have to go home. Now, generally speaking, what I would be doing is I'll be putting these into decants as well. So, you know, there's no risk of the bottles getting damaged, but we are driving down, so I can take as many bottles as I like, so it's not too much of an issue. If we were travelling abroad or something like that, I'd certainly be decanting. So, sorry about this, I've got something stuck in the back of my throat and it's doing my head in. Please, you know, sample all of these. They're all good fragrances. They're all available easily. Excellent stuff. I'm going to have to bring this review to an end, actually. I can't really speak anymore. But listen, thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure. When I get back from my weekend away, I'm going to crack on and get some normal style reviews out to you. We've got lots lined up and lots for you to look at. So listen, thank you very much for your time. It's always appreciated. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks very much. Cheers. Bye-bye.